Hi, I'm Emerick, and welcome to another edition of Boiler Bytes. Located on the northern edge of the Purdue campus, Ross-Ade Stadium has been the home to Boilermaker football since 1924. In our first story, we'll look back on the stadium's evolution through the years and catch a glimpse at some of the exciting improvements that lie in store.
Well, I've been here since 1990 and really started working intimately with the football program in 1998. There have been a lot of games, certainly very exciting football, the Coach Tiller era. But even before that, you go back to Mike Allstott, some of the great games he had, Drew Brees, Kyle Orton, all the great quarterbacks that have come through under Danny Hope, beat Ohio State a couple times at home, which was great. So there's been a lot of memories and hopefully more to come.
The first 2 years of the Purdue football program, starting in 1889, they played in what was known as the YMCA field in Lafayette. After that, they established a 7-acre athletic field called the Stewart Field, named after two brothers who were on the Board of Trustees.
Before Ross-Ade Stadium was a field called Stewart Field, and it was located actually where the Hall of Music is, and played there for roughly 25, 30 years.
David Ross, who was a member of the Board of Trustees, he was also a Purdue graduate. He was responsible for the Purdue Airport. He was responsible for the funding and the development of the Purdue Memorial Union. He was one of these people that when he saw something and he wanted it done, it got done. There was a rundown dairy farm north of campus that he saw as a place for a new athletic facility. And he enlisted George Ade, who was also a graduate of Purdue University and later on the Board of Trustees.
David Ross and George Ade donated the land. They bought the land. Of course, it was on the northern edge of campus. Really an undeveloped area of campus at that time. They bought 65 acres, gave it to the university, and in less than a year's time, the stadium was built.
They enlisted other alumni of Purdue to help with the funding, and one of the unique things that they did was sell 300 seats within the stadium that were called lifetime seats for $2 a piece. That was one of the unique fundraising features of that campaign.
The plans were kind of announced in September of 1922, and construction started not long after that. And in November of 24, we played our first game there, and that's where we've been ever since.
The bleachers were much lower than they are today, and it was also, the south end of it was open-ended, so it was basically a horseshoe-shaped stadium.
Capacity was 13,500. We opened it against Indiana, which was fitting, and beat the Hoosiers, which was great. And really over the next 45 years, you saw constant expansion. Some of the temporary seating became permanent seating. Press box moved from the east side to the west side and back.
During World War II, underneath the west bleachers, they built a artillery testing tunnel. They would actually fire artillery shells down these tunnels to look at their trajectory and so on like that. That is one of the things that they actually did use during World War II.
Ross-Ade Stadium has been enlarged to seat over 55,000 fans. All press and radio facilities are now housed in a new press box above the west stands.
And then by 1970, capacity was up to 69, almost 70,000. At one time there was a fence down on the field that was removed in the 80s. We had the big renovation from 2001 to 2003.
Work began in earnest on removing the old Ross-Ade Stadium press box. The first phase of the $70 million stadium renovation includes a new expanded press box, new offices, enlarged concourse areas, and more restrooms.
After the 2014 football season, Morgan Burke and Daryl Hazel sat down. That was after Coach Hazel's second year, and really tried to brainstorm what does the program need to return to the championship level performance that we all want it to be. And they came up with the football master plan, which is really 6 points. It's coaching and support staff, player development, recruiting, academic support, fan engagement, and then finally facilities. And blend those 6 elements together, you've got a good roadmap to win a lot of games. We know facilities alone won't make you a championship contender, but there's some technology needs that need to be fixed in the stadium. Certainly the sound system needs to be replaced. We're going to have to put lights in eventually as the new television contracts with the Big Ten come on board the next year or two. We have the south end zone patio kind of as a temporary fix that replaced some bleachers that were there that weren't great seats. So there's a goal to do something more permanent in the south end zone at some point in the future. But obviously the key thing right now, obviously the football performance complex is priority number 1, and they started digging this week, so it's for real. This will be 110,000 square feet. It'll be phenomenal. It'll be open and bright and a great locker room and just a lot of things that right now we're lacking. We just need another weight facility, and this one will be football only. The one in Mullicoff now will be devoted to other sports.
Every time we've had team-based training sessions, when we've gotten the majority of our players in for a training session, the atmosphere goes through the roof. It allows us and affords us the opportunity to have one session as opposed to having 3 sessions throughout the day. It makes it simpler and easier for their lifestyle.
Someone who's walking into your athletic facility for the first time, you want there to be a bit of a wow factor. Like, this university really cares about their athletes. This university wants what's best for them. I remember as a student athlete, I'm going to class all the way up until 2:30, and then I'm going to meetings, and then I'm going to practice, and then I'm going to training table, and then I'm coming right back to the computer lab to study for another couple hours before I'm walking home, late at night. So the ease of transition from one place to the next is vital.
We just know in this day and age, from a recruiting standpoint, you've got to have a centralized football facility where everything's in one place, and players see that commitment, they see the bells and whistles, and they feel they've got a real home for their football program. I can't imagine what that tract of land must have looked like before then, but Ross-Ade was built in the early 1920s, and it's been the home to Purdue football ever since.
It is the perfect Big Ten football atmosphere in Ross-Ade Stadium. We have such a loyal fan base and such a supportive group, not only with our fans and alumni, but also the student body. It's such a great atmosphere. I have so many great memories from Purdue football, and just want to see it succeed.
I think we have a great game day environment, and certainly when the team's rolling, it's a great way to spend 3, 4, 5 hours on a Saturday afternoon.
He's back to throw. Blau looking. Now he scrambles out to the right, throws to the end zone. It's caught! Touchdown, Boilermakers!
Construction is already underway on the $65 million football performance complex. This state-of-the-art facility will be funded entirely by private donations and is slated to open in August of 2017. That wraps up another Boiler Bytes. Check us out online at boilerbytes.com. We'll see you next time.